Hey, what's up, Unbroken Nation? I am your host of Michael Unbroken, Michael Anthony. And in today's episode, I want to talk to you guys about something that's really important and near and dear to my heart, and that is anger. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, like, why is anger important to you, Michael? Well, I'm going to tell you. It's really simple. For a very long time, I found that anger was something that got put to the side in my life. Anger was not a part of my day-to-day existence, and in fact, it had been removed from me. Growing up in trauma, growing up in a childhood where I wasn't allowed to step into owning who I was, where I wasn't allowed to be a person or have feelings or emotions, anger was one particularly that came with ramifications and consequences unlike any other emotion. To be happy is fine and, out of sight, out of mind, typically in that juxtaposition. But with anger, don't you dare. Don't ever dare be angry. And as we warp into society and we look at being adults and my own personal experience of being an adult in Western society in 2020 now, anger is kind of frowned upon. People go, oh, you're not allowed to be angry, be happy, show gratitude, be thankful, be alive, blah, 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 blah. Like, real talk, none of those things matter without anger. It does you no good to be grateful without having the opposite. They parlay with each other, right? Happy and sad, love and loss, and so on and so forth. And so anger is such an important catalyst in the healing journey and in the process, and an emotion that I think that we, as not only survivors, but as people who are going about our day-to-day lives, need to be able to tap in. Like, we have to be okay with the idea that we are angry, that we are upset. And in fact, we deserve to be. For many of us, we've gone our entire lives without stepping into anger and utilizing it as a tool of something that's good. Recently, someone messaged me on Instagram and they said, "You seem to have a chip on your shoulder." Yeah, I do. I'm fucking pissed off, guys. I'm so pissed off that this is my existence, that my past is my past, that my future is my future, because of things that were not my fault. Now, is that saying that I allow those things to dictate what happened in the course of my life? Absolutely not, because I have full control. I have full ownership, full responsibility, and full authority and agency over everything that occurs in my life. And that's really important to preface all of this with. Having a chip on your shoulder does not mean that you are in this position where everything that happens in your life is because of something else. I choose every day whether or not I want to be an advocate for other people like me, whether or not I want to speak my story, whether or not I want to write books and share and do podcasts and interview people and all of these things, because they bring value to me, to my existence, to what it is that I'm trying to create. But that doesn't mean that anger hasn't been a factor in that, right? I have these moments where if I am burned out, if I'm tired, if like today I don't feel well and I'm like, I would rather lay in bed and not do anything. Part of that is self-care. That's another conversation for another day. And another part of it is, what can I leverage right now in this moment that'll push me through the uncomfortable moments to get me to where it is that I want to go? And in this case scenario, it's that chip on my shoulder. It's anger. It's that thing that comes up when everyone is like, oh, you're not meant to be shit. You're never going to be anything. Look at the family you come from. Look at the way that you lived your life in your 20s. Oh, you wrote a book? Like, who gives a fuck? Right? To me, anger can be this amazing catalyst for change, for growth, for development, and for pushing through in these hard times where you're just like, I don't want to. And I think that you have to really clarify what it means to be angry. And some of us haven't even stepped into this idea that anger is an emotion that's okay. And we're often looking for permission for emotions. I can't give you permission to be angry, but I think it's really important that you learn how to tap into that, because anger is a core human emotion, like love and lust and greed and happiness and sadness and joy and sorrow and every other emotion that you can think of. Yet it's the one that typically gets frowned upon. People go, oh, no, don't be angry. No, be angry. Have a chip on your shoulder, but use it to do something good, right? It would be so much easier for me to sit here and talk to you guys and write a book and do blogs and post on social media and just be like, I hate the fucking world. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. But that's not going to get me anywhere, right? That's if you get that reference, email me. I swear I'll give you a free book. It's just because it's so funny. But like, really, anger is something that we have to step into so that we can use it to leverage, so that we can create, so that in these moments we can create change and make change and use it as a catalyst. And creating it in your life or allowing it to exist in your life, I think has to come with a really deep dive understanding of who it is that you are, what it is that you want, how you want to exist, and why you're upset. People get upset for all kinds of reasons, right? Maybe somebody didn't do the dishes, or the dog got out, or somebody else at work got that raise. Are those necessarily things that should impact your day for more than 10 seconds? No, probably not. But if you're on a crusade to better understand yourself, to make the world a more livable and habitable place, anger is not necessarily that bad of a tool to get to create change, right? So first you have to answer the question is, what does anger mean to me? And for me, anger is looking at situations and scenarios that have occurred in my life, assessing them, and being upset over the fact that they occurred. I can't go back in time. I can't change anything that's ever happened to me, nor can you. It does us no good to dwell on the past. You're not going to get anything from it, right? But you can look at that and go, okay, this is an opportunity for me to create change. This thing happened to me, and thus because of it, I've created this behavior, and because of that, I have to implement change. Or maybe it's not even a behavior that you have, or it's something you see in society, it's something happening in your family, in your peer groups, whatever it is, right? But there's a catalyst there because there is change that needs to happen. And so what do? You tap into this idea of anger because we're upset. Something isn't right in the scheme of things, and thus you have to go, okay, I want to do something about it. I'm pissed off. Own it. Do something about it. And if anger is the tool to get you into the place where you can do something about it, by all means. Now, how do you use anger in a healthy way? I think that you really have to sit down and think about what you're doing, what you're saying, how you're existing, how you're presenting yourself into the world when it comes to using anger as a mechanism for change in your life, or even as just an emotion that you feel. You can't be angry. You can. I'm not telling you what to do. This isn't probably the best idea. Don't be angry and put your fist through a wall. Don't be angry and hit your partner. Don't be angry and yell at your children. Don't be angry and cut someone off in the road and get in a traffic accident and kill 47 people. That's not going to get us anywhere. But being angry and going, all right, I'm going to utilize this to impact something, that's healthy. And so for me, how do I use anger? How do I use this chip on my shoulder? When I decided to create Think Unbroken, I knew that it was about giving people the same tools that I have developed and learned myself over the course of the last 8 years and really my lifetime. And when I did that, I knew that there would be these moments, there would be these days over the course of almost 3 years now where I've been creating and putting out content and slowly watching people come and be a part of it and just wondering, is it worth it? And remembering these moments of my childhood, remembering these moments of my teens and my 20s where I felt despicable. I'm dead serious. I have no better word to use than that. I loathed the person that I was. And anger was the catalyst to create change after I hit rock bottom. After I got to this place where I was like, my life is awfulsome. Nothing about it is good. I'm destroying everything in my path. I was upset at myself. I was pissed off. And so I started doing all the things to get to the place that I am now. And anger was a catalyst in that because that was the chip on my shoulder because I felt like I had to step up my game for me to prove everybody wrong. And this may not be your scenario. Maybe you don't need to have this thought of proving anybody wrong. But these voices just would echo in my head. You're not going to be shit. You're never going to be anything. Nobody cares about you. Look at you. You're worthless. Whatever these thoughts were. And I would just sit and think to myself, fuck that. That is not who I am. That is not how I'm going to exist in the world. And I'm going to move forward no matter what. I'm going to prove you fucking people wrong. And that to me, it's not, there's no one, I mean, there is a list. I'll never share it with you guys, but there is something that I think about when you kind of write down names and events of people that have told you you're not going to make it, you're not going to be anything, where you dig inside that list, you look at it and you go, okay, watch. And that to me, because maybe it's my competitive side, that's a driver. That gets me in moments like this where I don't feel great, where I'd much rather be in bed. onto this mic and recording this podcast and going, you know what? Even if I don't feel well, it's more important for me to show up for myself in this moment than anything else, because I need to prove to myself and to everyone else that I am capable of doing this. Now, again, you may not need to prove anything to anyone. I'm not saying that, but think about what ways you can use anger as a healthy mechanism for creating and implementing change in your life. So you answer this question, how do I use anger in a healthy way? Maybe it's a podcast. Maybe it's painting. Maybe it's journaling. Maybe it's going and standing on a street corner with a sign. Maybe it's having a conversation that you need to have. I don't know. There's a litany of options that you can use to manifest your anger in a healthy and productive way. But you have to understand that it is okay to be angry. It is okay to be upset. It is okay to feel that emotion. I was in a men's group therapy about 4 years ago now. And one of the guys in there, he said something really fascinating that honestly changed my life forever. Because I didn't realize this at the time. He goes, you don't know how to feel the emotion of being angry. And I thought to myself, that's weird because I'm angry all the time. And he's like, no. Outwardly, you're angry. You lash out. You get upset. You scream. You yell. Whatever that thing may be. But you don't allow that emotion to exist in you. You fight it off like all other emotions. And that really sparked something in me because I was like, oh, he's right. I do fight off the emotions, whether they're happiness or sadness or anything in between. And I always feel very gray area when it comes to emotions. I don't get too high. I don't get too low. And I realized because of that, I'm not really living into the human existence. And so now I've put all this effort towards feeling that emotion and understanding what anger is and how it plays a role in my life. And I think as much as you can utilize anger and a chip on your shoulder to create implicit change in the world, you can also just sit with it. Guys, I want you to think about this. It's okay to be upset. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be like, you know what? Fuck today. Fuck you. Fuck these people. Fuck everything. I'm just going to be pissed. But it's not okay to wallow in that. It's not okay to let that emotion be the driver for you making mistakes in your life. It's not okay to allow the emotion of anger to be the catalyst that doesn't get you out of bed, that doesn't get those running shoes on, that doesn't get you into a place of health, that makes you not go to therapy, that makes you not eat right, that makes you smoke cigarettes. Whatever that thing is, like anger is not the catalyst for those things. Anger is simply a mechanism that you can use to create, to feel, to understand. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it's actually bullshit that we live in a society that downplays this emotion as something that's viable, that's a healthy thing. So just something to think about. I wonder often, what role will anger play in my future? I think it will always be a catalyst for this chip on my shoulder. I think it will always be this driver that gets me out of bed when I don't feel like doing things. Because ultimately, we have to hold on to something that's going to move us through. And I have happiness too. And trust me, happiness drives me. And joy drives me. And kindness drives me. And my core values drive me. But sometimes, when I'm at my lowest, when I'm at like, you know what, I don't want to do anything today. I hate the world. Why did I decide to even create Think Unbroken? Blah, blah, blah. Anger and that chip on my shoulder bring me back. I was reading a book by Jocko Willink. If you're not familiar with him, he's a Navy SEAL. His book's really incredible. I'm sorry, the name just literally went out of my brain as I'm saying this. I'm going to find it. I'll put it in the show notes. You can find Jocko on Instagram, just Jocko Willink, Willink, I believe. Don't quote me. But he's there. And he has a chapter in his book called Default Aggression. And to me, that's what this sums up to be. That terminology has really changed the way I think about this emotion and utilizing it and the way that it exists in my life. Default aggression. Why? Because I think if you want to accomplish anything in life, you got to be a little bit aggressive. You have to be able to step in to that part of yourself that is willing to push. And sometimes anger will get you over the hill. So just some food for thought today, guys. Thank you to all of you who have been listening to the podcast. Please subscribe if you find that you are interested in this content. Like it, comment, send it to a friend, someone, anyone, because I know that there are people like me, when I needed this, could not find this kind of information. And I am so grateful for you guys for taking the time out of your day to listen, to be a part of this journey with me. And Think Unbroken is now on paperback. When you listen to this, the new book is going to be out. Think Unbroken, Understanding and Overcoming Childhood Trauma will be out on January 1st, 2020. We're going to start this new decade happy, healthy, sustainable, angry if we need to be, and create the life that we want to have. Inside all of us, there is an amazing inherent ability to step into being who it is that we want to be. And sometimes the first thing that you have to do is give yourself permission to do that. If you're not sure how to do that, grab Think Unbroken on paperback at thinkunbroken.com/paperback. You can also get it on Amazon. It's also on Kindle. It's on all of the things. Just search for Think Unbroken and you will find it. And let's start this decade the healthiest we've ever been. Till next time, my friends, be unbroken. I'll see ya.